Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
So we're all gonna die.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, we're definitely 100% all gonna die.
I mean, I don't know. I feel in my lifetime maybe they will invent the lifetime forever livingness.
I mean, even if science got that far,
would you want to? Is the question?
well, yeah. I mean, not only would you want to, but would they? Is this something that they would even like make available? Because like,
no, definitely not.
Right.
Well, you know, it's funny though. Because people always talk about this from the perspective of, but why would I want to live for my whole life? Even if they did, like, let's pretend they did make it available to everybody. That is a true statement that nobody wants to, because everybody sees people get old and then be unable to do things. However, if you could kind of stop when you were like mid-20s, early 30s, early 40s even, and just never age again.
oh sure, but I mean, I don't think that's the science, right? Like. But even if you could,
the science doesn't exist.
Okay. I mean, it's possible that some science could extend our lifetimes. Let's not say forever, but like 500 years or something like that. But even if you could like be as spry as if you were a 20-year-old, would you want to live that long?
I think I would probably want to, because right now in my life, I don't feel at all as if I'm like near the end. Like I am not planning for the end. I don't feel like I'm near the end. I'm planning for, I'm planning things and doing things as if I have forever left to live, essentially.
Do you and your wife have like a will and all that sort of thing?
We actually do not yet, but we are supposed to get one. But that's not for us, though.
I mean, that's for your kids. But I mean, I think once you have 2 kids, that's a very important thing.
Oh, no. Absolutely. I think we're behind the 8 ball in getting an unofficial will set up. Yes.
Okay.
We have definitely this is something actually we always argue about. This doesn't even make sense. Like we started arguing about it when it became benefits enrollment season again, because I guess Julia did some like research and found out that in order for a child like our kid's age or whatever, for them to be able to survive if we died, we need to have at least like a $3 million life insurance policy.
Jesus fucking Christ!
And I was like, whoa, because she asked like what life insurance like we had, and I said I get like 1.5 times my salary for free from my work, and I can buy more. It's up to like, I think I can essentially double that, but then it costs me money to, to pay into every month. And she's like, well, that's not nearly enough. Like we need at least $3 million according to everything I read.
That's insane.
Well, and that's what I said. I was like, that is crazy. Like, because if I had $3 million right now, we can live off of the interest forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you had $2 million right now, you can live off the interest forever.
So why do my children need $3 million right now in order to live? Like, yeah, they may need that in order to not have to rely on anybody ever again for the rest of their lives.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they should be set for life if you leave them $3 million.
Honestly, I really feel like if we were to die and they got like 1.5 times my salary, somebody's going to take care of them. Like her parents, my parents, some family member, foster home, heaven forbid. It's not like they're all of a sudden on their own.
Right.
They're not just like, okay, you're 3, buy a house.
Yeah, right. Figure it out, kid.
It doesn't work that way. So like, I understand the concept maybe that, $3 million maybe is what's kind of required.
I guess if you have no family whatsoever.
So they would have to rely on 0 people for the rest of their lives. Maybe that was this.
But she's smart enough to know that's not their case, though. What
the hell? So you gotta think about it this way, though. No matter how smart a person is, they get stupid when it comes to making sure their children are fine.
I guess.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a way of, she's a smart person. I'm a smart person. But when I start thinking of, well, shit, like, do my kids really need that much money? I don't want them to have to suffer. Like, what if something happened to us tomorrow? What if her and I were driving to, we had a babysitter and we were going out for a date night and we got in a car accident and died. I don't want to be thinking that maybe I didn't give them enough, like.
But you'll be dead. You won't even know.
Well, sure, of course, that is true. But
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it doesn't really work when it's your children. So of course I increased I maximized my life insurance. I can't maximize.
Is it $3 million? If it's $3 million, whenever I might fucking snuff you out and be good friends with your kids.
No, it's I can only do half. of, or I can only double the 1.5 times my salary is the max I'm allowed to purchase up to at my work.
I see.
So it's like, it's essentially it's 3 times my salary is what I have in life insurance, but that's all I can get without going to some like outside agency or outside company. I feel like that's fine.
Right. I agree.
But,
I had an interesting thing regarding life insurance, and this sort of thing happened to me a couple days ago. I know we kind of had an idea what we were going to talk about, but you've sparked something.
Oh, no, it's fine. We got plenty of time to talk about anything.
Well, yesterday I got a letter in the mail from a lawyer saying that basically my mom's estate...
saying that your $3 million life insurance policy.
Here's your three... Just so you know, your mom had $3 million and you're set now. So at some point, my mom had changed her life insurance policy to go to my brother. So like basically, when her mom died, I didn't get anything, and that's fine. It didn't really care. It didn't matter to me whatsoever.
Wait, it went to your brother? I thought wasn't there a big deal where it went to?
Well, so he got some of it. The stepfather got some of it, and we don't actually know how much. We don't know how much. We don't know for sure how much her policy was worth, and what percentage of that my brother got. Like, my mom had always said her life insurance was either $70,000 or $75,000. I actually can't remember now. It's one of those two numbers. My brother got $12,000. And I was talking to him on the phone and I just found this out today because we both he got a call and I got a letter from the lawyer that basically my mom's land that her house is on was not in both of their names. It was only in her name. And the way it works, if you don't have a will, and you die, then the house goes to the spouse, but any other property, or like technically shit like furniture and like any of the little items that were owned by her is 50% the spouse's and then 50% the survivors, like me and my brother. So basically 25% of the land is mine, 25% of the land is his, and the other 50% goes to Gray, the spouse.
Okay.
Well, Gray wants it all. And so he hired a lawyer, and the lawyer sent a letter saying that we need to sign over our 25% to him and avoid probate.
Explain why?
Well, so I don't talk to Gray because he basically was treating me like shit when my mom was in the middle of dying, and then after she died, he acted like I was just there to get what I could, which is absolutely not the case. So him and I don't speak, but he called my brother, and what he told my brother, and this is where he gets all fucking. I told my brother he's full of shit. He told my brother that he used his portion of the life insurance and her 401k to pay off the land and all this stuff. And so he said, so if you want 25% of it, you need to pay me for your 25%, basically. And what I told my brother is the way it works when someone dies, you can't inherit debt. So what needs to happen and what was supposed to happen was that the estate was supposed to pay off any debts. And if those debts could not be satisfied, then whatever happens goes to auction. And then after debts are paid, the beneficiaries receive whatever's left based on their percentage of the money from auction. That's how it's supposed to work. But what Gray did was he accepted all the money from the beneficiary from everything and spent it how he chose instead of taking care of the estate like it should have been. And now he's saying that since that stuff's been paid off, the money what's fucked up is he basically used the life insurance and the 401k, which is the money that should satisfy the estate's debt. But now he's saying we need to pay him back for that money he spent. That was the money that was supposed to be spent on that purpose in the first place. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense of what he's saying.
Right.
But it doesn't like I understand what he's saying, but that doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, no, like he's basically trying to take advantage of my brother. My brother doesn't know any better. And so luckily I because like if I hadn't talked to my brother today, he was going to sign the paperwork and just give up his 25%. And I was like, I mean, the truth of the matter is I don't want 25% of this land. Like, honestly, I don't care. Like, Gray's still living there. I don't want to own the land that the house is on. He owns the house. You know what I mean? So, like, it's all kind of silly in some ways because I don't want any of this, really. But I also...
He sounds like a total piece of shit, though.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is. And he's lived his life as a scam artist, and so he's just trying to continue that on. Like, whenever we went to do the funeral, the guy at the funeral home was like, listen, the life insurance stuff can pay for the funeral, and I'll take care of the probate process, and I'll make sure the debts are listed or the things are listed in the paper, so that any debt collectors or whatever can do the right process and all this. And then Gray like pitched a fit. He's like, no, I'm paying out of pocket. And I know that's why he was doing that, because he was trying to avoid this process, the legal process that's supposed to go through whenever someone dies. And so, like, honestly, if this was anyone else, if I had a good relationship with him, I'd probably just be like, whatever, you can have it. I don't care, because in the long run, I don't want it. But since he's trying to be a scam artist and asshole, like, I feel like following the legal process is the right thing to do.
I mean, I would agree. Since he's trying to be an asshole, like fucking like rake his ass over the coals.
Just pisses me off that like the way he talked to my brother about it was like, well, you're gonna costing a lot of money. You got to spend a lot of money on lawyers, and then you got to pay me a lot of money for this land and all that. It's only like 2 fucking acres. It ain't worth a lot. Like at the most, I would say this land might be worth $5,000 an acre, and I think that's probably a stretch. And based on like what my land's worth and stuff, and it's in the middle of nowhere, just like my land. And anyway, so like, I don't think there's a lot of value here, period. But like, he did other fucked up shit too. Like my mom had got like, my mom had made a room for my daughter at the house. And so it had like a bunch of toys and stuff that she had got like for my daughter. It was basically my daughter's room at her house and her toys. And so after my mom died, he just threw all that shit away. And my brother was like, well, did you ask Jason? Like, that's his daughter's stuff, technically, even though she doesn't stay here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I asked Jason. He didn't want any of it. He never fucking contacted me about anything. So, like, he's just a piece of shit, really. Like, I mean, my baby book is down there, and it's probably been thrown away. Like, I tried to get in touch with him to get it. Like, when we were going through the photos and stuff for the funeral, I meant to take it in. I actually set it back in the tub with all the photos. So I mean, I guess I fucked up, but like, it's gone now. Shit like that just pisses me off. Like, I don't know, just everything pisses me off. My mom had kept saying like she wanted certain jewelry to go to certain grandkids. Like my brother's daughter was supposed to get a certain tennis bracelet, and then my daughter was supposed to get like these certain rings and stuff. And he gave my brother the bracelet, but the rest of the jewelry he said's gone. And again, I don't care about this stuff, but I just wanted my mom's wishes to like take place or whatever. I don't know.
Now, did you get written out of the will completely?
There was no will.
Oh.
Like, and that's where he accused me of trying to take advantage and trying to see what I could get, because my mom was very stressed out whenever she found out she was sick. She kept telling me like, I need to get a will. And I told whenever she married this man, because this man's got like 7 kids or something like that. I was like, if you're going to marry this person, you need to have a will, because like, this is going to be in a mess whenever something happens. And she was like, nah, he's going to die first. And like, I've already got a big life insurance policy on him and all this other shit. And I was like, okay. And then she went off and died. So that whole plan didn't work out. But like, whenever I came down there and she was coming home from hospice, I was like, did she ever? Because she went home one day and supposedly took care of some things, and I was wondering, I was like, was the will one of the things she took care of? Not because I wanted to know what am I getting when she dies, but like, I knew this was one of the big things she was concerned about. And I also have seen it personally get messy with other relatives that have passed away. So like, I just wanted to avoid all this. But then Grace started talking shit about me to everyone there that was there to see her stuff. Oh, Jace came here asking about a will. He's just here to see what he can get, waiting for her to die and all this shit.
Jump in the bed.
Sorry. So yeah. Just that shit really pissed me off too, being accused of trying to take advantage or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't realize she didn't have a will. I thought so. Yeah, that's interesting, because that falls to like, how did your brother get stuff then, as opposed to?
Well, your life insurance it's a policy, right? And you name the beneficiaries in the policy. And you know, the same as and that's where this is all coming about, is when there's not a will, the legal stance is
spouse first,
50%, and then. And it depends. It's not across the board on everything. Like the house, spouse gets 100%. But any like extra things, such as apparently land, which I think is a little weird when the spouse gets the house. You would think the land the house is on would be included in that, but apparently not. So that stuff is divided up. Spouse 50%, 25, and then 50% to the survivors, which would be me and my brother.
So does that mean when I go and sell like a house, or when I go look at a house on real estate like .com or whatever, realtor.com, that they theoretically could be selling me the land or the house if they really wanted to.
I don't know. I mean, normally when you buy a house, the land's going to be included, right? That's the standard way it's
normally
done.
I mean, I watch a lot of Texas Flip and Move and know that they just buy, the house to move it off of the land.
Oh, that's true. Right.
Those are special. You think that those are special, like that it's called out in some special way that that's an exception.
Right.
Whereas it sounds like what you're saying is the exception is that you buy them together, like that traditionally they would go.
I mean, I think this is more like in the case of death sort of thing than anything. Is how things are handled upon death if you don't have a will. But yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of funny because I was just talking to my buddy today. Randomly, we're talking about wills and things like that. It wasn't about my having a will or whatnot. And I said something about like, I have no idea what I'm going to get, like, for from not from my parents per se, but like from my grandparents. Like they had lots. Oh, we were talking about his dad has a lot of money, but he thinks his dad's leaving most of his money to a university that he has like a lot of allegiance with, which is really
that would bother me. I think like I wasn't bothered that my mom didn't leave me anything in her life insurance, but if she left it to like a university or something, I'd be like, wow, what the fuck?
Well, granted, it was the university that he went to, and he apparently makes donations and stuff there all the time. But he's a very wealthy like lawyer and has the ability to do a lot of donating and things like that. But at the same time, I think it'd be weird. He literally thinks that he's not going to get much money if his dad. He and his dad are not super close, but they're not like they don't hate each other or anything like that. They're not like enemies and like disowned or anything like that.
Right.
But he even said straight up that he thinks most of his he said he thinks he's getting some money, but probably very little. But that millions he thinks are going to go to this university.
God, that would kill me.
Well, and I was saying that was kind of weird, and I was like, I could have probably had millions from my grandparents when they passed away, but God damn it, they lived too long and spent most of their money on on like nursing homes. I mean, shit, they both. My grandparents, I do know that at some point they had like over $1 million in cash in like a bank account. Because my parents like did their finances for them for the last like multiple years of their death, but most of that money ended up going away to the nursing homes and stuff that they had to pay for at the end of life.
See, that's what's so frustrating about my grandmother is all her brothers and stuff talk to her. What they have all done is they put everything into family members' names. And then after you don't own your home or anything, I think it's for 2 years, then you can go to a nursing home for free, like state paid.
What?
Yeah.
Come again?
Yeah. As long as you don't own anything, like there are nursing home programs that it's part of the government's Medicare. Medicare will pay for your stay at the nursing home. But you can't own anything. If you own anything, then then they're going to take that. So like what all my grandmother's brothers and everything did is put everything into their beneficiary for their will. They put everything in their name a long time ago. And if it comes down to it and they need to go to a nursing home, they don't own anything. So they can just go.
So what is your thought then, especially in your situation, with a trust versus a will? I guess it's not really versus, but it actually could go hand in hand.
Yeah, I feel like they normally go hand in hand. Like that's how it was when my dad died. Since I was a minor, things were held in trust, like the house and stuff like that.
You don't have an established trust. So like my parents got an established trust, and it turns out, and I think it's really weird because it sounds so like fucked up the way that the reason that they did it. Both my parents were married before they married each other. My father had 2 kids with his previous wife long before I was born. I'm the baby of 4 for him, and I'm the baby of 2 for my mom. My mom's marriage, they didn't have any kids or whatever. But there's other children involved, and no, they're not like, again, they're not disowned or anything. They're still kind of part of the family, but kind of a distant part of the family almost. One of the reasons that they did the trust was because they put all this stuff into, like, they renamed the house is now not in my parents' name. It's in a trust's name. The cars and the vehicles and any major property, they're not in their name anymore. They're in a trust's name, and the trust passes on to my sister and I.
I see.
So that the step siblings cannot jump in and try to claim
That's kind of well. I guess you are the kids of this marriage, but it still feels like your dad probably had assets. You know,
well, that's why I said it's kind of fucked up. But at the same time, what can happen is part of what's being worried about is like, what if you die? Let's say that your ex-wife ends up having kids or something, adopts, whatever they do, like have a different family that's happening that's not under you, and that somehow that splits your will away from just your daughter in some way, shape, or form. And that's kind of what. Well, in your case, it might not happen the same way that I'm saying because it's not your extra kids. It'd be somebody else's kids. So I'm not sure if that would actually make any sense or not. But it's a way to protect it for your children,
right?
Almost.
I mean, that's like one thing I've thought about when it comes
to my sister's in the process of doing it because she has, 3 children from her previous marriage, and now she just remarried and now has a 4th child with, her new husband. So she's only been married 2 times, and her other kids are like 10, 11, 12, and her new one is 6 months old like right now. So it's, there's a big gap between the children, but she's in the process of making sure everything goes into a trust so that they don't somehow, especially with them being under 18. Oh, that's where it comes, is that they're under 18. So if you died, the money doesn't go to your daughter; it goes to your daughter's caretaker,
which would be
in a way.
Right.
Which could then be used for reasons that you might not want them to be used for because it'd be for a family that is not your, like, quote unquote family. Like, that's kind of the purpose of the way that the trusts are set up. And so I was just curious if that's something that's like crossed your mind to try to do.
Like, I know for me, it wasn't my dad's stuff wasn't owned by a trust. It was owned by my grandma, but there was someone that oversaw like the legal process that was supposed to take place in terms of it becoming mine when I turned 21. So I don't know how that worked, to be honest with you. But I do know, like, when I've thought about, I'm nowhere near remarrying or anything like that. But if I ever got to that point, and this may be a fucked up way to see it, but I wouldn't even want my new wife to have any say on...
Well, and let alone, what if you marry somebody who has other children of her own?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I die...
It doesn't mean you don't love them, but do you want your stuff to go toward her children?
I don't want my stuff to even go to my new wife.
Yeah, because you want it all to go to your daughter.
Exactly.
Like, as of now. Like, and maybe that'll change in the future. And
I don't see it ever changing. Like, there's no way...
But
like,
you gotta understand, there's plenty of people out there who have step parents who are they are like closer to them than their real parents, because that's what can happen in a like cohesive family unit, even if it's not the original cohesive family unit.
Right. So I'm not saying that can't happen. I mean, I might marry a woman, and I mean, I doubt that, but it's possible that I marry a woman that my daughter loves or whatever. But even then, when I die, my house and all of this stuff that was my dad's before me and it's always been in my family, I want that going directly to my daughter. No ownership for a future wife. And I don't know if that's fucked up or not, but that part of me will never change. It doesn't matter who I see, who I meet.
I think to say it'll never change is fucked up because I don't think that's realistic per se. I think right now it's absolutely a very perfectly well done statement because you're not in a position for it to be somebody else. But let's say you married somebody tomorrow and in 20 years from now, that might not be the same case anymore.
I guess that's possible, but I still doubt it.
I'm sure. Well, it's hard to think of those scenarios.
Yeah, like, you're right. I mean, if I'm living 20 more years, I'd be surprised.
I mean, I think I've heard you say before that you've never think that you could ever try to date again if you and your wife had gotten divorced.
I mean, maybe I said that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, exactly. It was at the time that was your thought process, and that's how you thought it was really going to be because of everything that was happening at the time. But things have changed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, like you said, the scenario of 20 years down the road, but I still feel like these things that were always in my family should stay in my family. Oh, that was some bullshit.
What the hell just happened? You died.
Creeper blew up in this hole. I hate it so much.
You didn't die though, right?
No, I didn't die.
Yeah, there's no messages that you died.
But it messed everything up. It took out the ladders here. It's just awful.
Are you in the God, I haven't looked at the pyramid in forever. All the people who aren't watching my video are just listening to the podcast.
Speaking of the podcast, the Mindcrack podcast is returning on Monday, the whatever.
Monday, the whatever.
I need ladders.
And who knows? The Guano podcast maybe returns one day too, and I convince somebody to actually just like lift the audio and do it for us.
Throw me some ladders down this hole.
I don't even know where you're at. Hold on.
I'm at the hole, like right beside our house.
The hole? What the hole? Oh, hold on. I just went all the way over to the pyramid. I flew over there. I forgot that we. I forgot that we actually had holes. Hold on, I'm coming back. Do we have ladders made?
I need
We have
2.
plenty of wood. I just need to.
Oh, you know what? Is there a workbench down here? I think there is. I have sticks on me. I might have enough to make 2 ladders.
Once I can make a bunch of ladders. Though.
Oh yeah, there's a workbench here. I think I'm all right. I am. I'm okay. All right, don't worry about it. It's still messed up, like the terrain and everything. It like blew the sand out. And it all fell down.
I got ladders. Even though you're escaped now.
What a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he was right here. Like
He was
here.
like he was in this little hole over here. And so as I was coming up the ladder, he blew up right here.
Interesting.
I've now put torches over here though. But yeah, I've been working on that hallway. That's what I've been doing. If you want to come down and see it. There's nothing much to see, but
Hey, look, it's a hallway.
yeah, pretty much. And you get a bunch of red flowers to finish what I've been
We'd
doing.
at some point work on the hallway that goes to like the farm section.
Yeah.
Ooh, it looks nice. What color is it going to be?
Red. If you go way down here, you can see the red. But I ran out of red. I need red dye. Because this is the
Why do
red
you need
hallway.
red? Why don't you just get like dye some of the sheep?
Well, this isn't wool. It's concrete, or not concrete. This is clay, and down here's concrete, which I forgot.
There's no clay sheep, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
But then I haven't done anything in here because we finished in here together.
Hi, Enderman.
I did clean up all the like extra shit on the walls and everything there.
It's nice to know that there's no fires breaking out anymore.
Right. Oh, and I finished the glowstone. I think I did that when you were watching too or looking.
Nice.
But anyways, we should probably end this episode here. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, thanks, guys. See you.